You know how to handle a crisis. When everything around you is falling apart, you stay completely still, assess the damage, and do exactly what needs to be done. To the outside world, you are the ultimate problem solver. You are the emotional anchor in your friend group, the person who manages complexity without breaking a sweat, and the person everyone instinctively turns to when they need something fixed. But underneath that quiet competence is a heavy, unnameable exhaustion. You have practiced being the strong one for so long that you reflexively tell people, "I'm fine," before you've even checked to see if you actually are. You carry a deeply guarded, almost embarrassing longing to just be taken care of for once. And hovering over all of this is a strange, quiet grief, one you can't trace to any specific tragic memory or single event. These conflicting traits, the extreme capability and the deep exhaustion, represent the predictable psychological aftermath of a childhood that you were forced to skip. A child's primary survival strategy is adaptation. If your early environment lacked peace or was managed by adults who couldn't fully manage themselves, your brain solved the problem by absorbing adult responsibilities. This diagram shows the family hierarchy of instrumental parentification. Notice how the traditional structure inverts. The child node is forced to the top, taking on adult duties. But watch how the emotional energy flows strictly upward. This represents emotional parentification, where the child becomes the active caretaker, stabilizing the home's mood. Neither of these roles announce itself when they begin. Children adapt so completely that monitoring a parent's mood or running a household simply feels like the normal baseline of existence. You don't realize it's a burden because you've never known a life without it. You are incredibly capable today because you were never granted the safety to be incapable when you were young. While you were managing those adult responsibilities, your physical nervous system was undergoing a transformation to keep you safe in an unpredictable environment. This graph tracks nervous system arousal. A typical response spikes during stress and drops back to rest. The second line shows hypervigilance. It spikes and plateaus, locking the nervous system into a permanent state of scanning for instability. As a child, this meant you learned to read a room before you even walked into it. You noticed a slight shift in a tone of voice, a tense silence, or a facial expression that everyone else missed, allowing you to manage conflict before it fully arrived. That survival mechanism kept you safe back then, but it never uninstalled itself. It traveled with you into adulthood, turning ordinary social interactions and routine workplace meetings into exhausting exercises in threat assessment. Constantly scanning for everyone else's emotional state required you to suppress your own. You learned to make yourself smaller and quieter, ensuring your personal needs wouldn't add any extra weight to an already volatile home. Your fierce adult independence and refusal to ask for help grew out of this survival reflex. You learned that occupying space or having needs was a risk you couldn't afford to take. This brings us back to that unnameable grief, that deep sense of loss you feel even though you can't point to a single specific tragedy. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss. It describes the unique experience of grieving for a childhood that was never fully had. You are mourning the absence of lightness. You are grieving the years that should have been unserious. You are longing for the version of you that was supposed to get the chance to be completely, wonderfully irresponsible. This grief is difficult to process because society lacks a framework for it. We know how to hold funerals for visible losses, but we don't know how to mourn the empty space where an experience was supposed to be. This grief is exactly what drives your adult longing for simple play, uncomplicated comfort, and relationships where you don't have to be the one in charge. If you look closely at that longing, you'll find a part of yourself that has been waiting since childhood to finally have its turn. This is your inner child, the part of the self that carries your unlived experiences and unmet needs, still hoping to start the chapter it was forced to skip. The desire to let go of the reins and be taken care of signals that these developmental needs are finally trying to resolve themselves. The hyper-awareness and relentless self-sufficiency that define your life today are evidence of your resilience. They are the marks of a child who did whatever was necessary to keep things together. Your extreme capability was a requirement for your survival back then. But you are an adult now. You have survived, and you have earned the right to finally put the burden down and let someone else carry the weight. If this video named something you have carried your entire life, share it with someone who had to grow up before they were ready. Subscribe to Decoder, and let's keep decoding the human mind together.